Hey, nerdy sports fan here. Happy holidays to you all. I'm recording this on December 25th. Yeah, Merry Christmas, Mahana Kwanzaa to you all. I personally don't really celebrate anything, but hey, it's the solstice, so everybody's got their holidays on the same day. So why not, celebrate, give a loved one a gift, and pretend we're happier today than we actually are. I know, that's why you're watching me today instead of paying attention to your family. Anyways, we have the Buffalo Bills hosting New Jersey's case of gangrene. That's right, the Jets. This matchup doesn't matter. Playoff wise, the Bills are in, they're locked in at the 5 seed. So they're going to be resting a lot of people. They're not going to rest everybody. They can't. The coaches come out and said, look, we're going to rest people that we can, but the numbers just don't make it so we can rest everybody. All right? And that's right. I mean, between injuries and just the number of people that you can keep on a staff and how the Bills load their roster, they really can't rest everybody. They keep a little bit more in the defensive line rotation than a lot of teams do. Hence, their defense is really good. But because of that, a lot of the starters can't rest. And they are going to want to give them a certain amount of time in the first half just to make sure they stay sharp anyway. But they're definitely not in this game to win it. They're not going to game plan. They're just going to do their thing. So the Jets have a supreme advantage here if they care. This isn't going to help them either. So do the Jets really want a game plan? Or do they want a better draft pick? It depends on what's going on in the front office for the Jets because Adam Gase has lost the locker room. That's a given. Is the GM going to last? Who knows? He was handpicked by Adam Gase. If Adam Gase doesn't last, the GM probably won't last. So there's a lot of sketchy going on in the Jets front office right now, and you're going to get a good vibe for whether or not Adam Gase stays with the team by how they handle this game. So that's probably one of the only interesting things about it. This is a more interesting game to Jets fans than it is to Bills fans, and it's not interesting at all to fan bases outside of those two cities. I'm sorry for this game. But if you're in a fantasy league that plays up to week 17 with the finals, this game is going to matter to you. For one player in particular, not necessarily either team as a whole. So the Bills, I would say Devin Singletary, absolutely, but no, just no. They're not going to use him anywhere near as much as they would in a game that mattered. And the same for all of their quality receivers and Josh Allen. So nobody on the Bills should be started for your team. For the Jets, they don't have that luxury. They have players playing for contracts with other teams. And in particular, you're going to want Crowder, Jameson Crowder out there, and possibly Robbie Anderson. So Sam Darnold is going to be playing for pride, at least a bit, because him and Josh Allen were drafted in the same first round, and Sam Darnold and Josh Allen both potentially could have been the number 1 overall pick. If you listen to the draft nicks before the draft that year, Josh Allen was the number 1 prospect for a very long time. And then he was supplanted by Sam Darnold, and nobody thought Baker Mayfield was anywhere near being the number 1 selection until the day of. Well, maybe a day or two before at the most. But yeah, morning of is when most people were changing their draft boards to put Baker Mayfield at number 1. So yeah, Sam Darnold and Josh Allen legitimately were the top 2 quarterbacks on most people's boards. And depending on who you talk to, Josh Allen was on a good half of them, and Sam Darnold was essentially on the other half. It was a matter of whether or not you wanted a more polished player or somebody that had more potential. And here we are in year 2, and we see that Sam Darnold and Josh Allen have extremely similar statistics, but Josh Allen's are better. And he's got his legs. Sam Darnold does not have anywhere near the rushing capability that Josh Allen does. And if you look at their stat lines, Josh Allen's got more completions, more attempts, but it's a similar completion percentage between the two. And Josh Allen's got more yards, only by a few hundred, passing. More touchdowns, less interceptions as well. So I'm happy to be on the winning side of this, at least at this point, with Josh Allen getting his team to the playoffs in his second season and having a better statistical year. So, yeah, I'm happy we got the right guy. But both are actually pretty darn good. For second-year quarterbacks, I understand Lamar Jackson is an absolute phenom, but both of these franchises can be very, very happy with what they did in the draft, getting their quarterbacks as well. Quarterbacks take time to develop. And it's not until year 4 that you typically see the peak of what they can be. And it's not, hey, year 4, all of a sudden a light switch flips and they look like a pro. No, they should look like a pro very early on and just make mistakes that come with not necessarily having enough time to understand that particular scheme that you're going against. That's what you should see early on in a quarterback's career, where they're preparing the right way, they're putting the right effort forth, they're displaying the right amount of leadership, but they just haven't had the time to understand all of the schemes that are out there that are going to be used against them. We've seen that from both quarterbacks. So I'm very excited to see the future for both of them. This is going to be a very fun matchup to watch going on in the future. Not so much in this game. So again, Jamison Crowder and Robbie Anderson are the only people you really should be paying attention to fantasy-wise in this game. Maybe a little bit of Le'Veon, but really he's been a disappointment this season. It's not his fault. His offensive line's been crap, and his quarterbacks had mono, so people have keyed in on him very, very effectively and shut him down. But yeah, he's got so many people better than him as a possible running back start that he really should be on your bench. It's a 1.5 point line favoring the Bills. This makes sense because 3 points is typically what you give to the home team, but even Vegas knows that the Bills are likely going to rest most players for at least the second half. So yeah, I actually have the Jets in this one. So if you're betting, I would put my money on the Jets pretty confidently because the Bills don't need this game. And the Jets at least can play for a little bit of pride here. And I would put my money on a team trying to hold on to some amount of pride going into the offseason versus a team who just wants to rest and get into the playoffs healthy. So that's what I got for this one. Check out the rest of the videos for more fantasy football advice if you even still need it at this point. Thanks, guys.